Speaking of not minding, my turn to really suck at this. I don't mind when a movie opens with a fairy tale book opening in Nazi-occupied Germany.
No.
How was that? How was that?
Not bad. It's pretty good.
No, it was terrible. Don't save me from that.
No, Inglorious Basterds is a fantastic movie. I think that it's also his... I'm not sure quite how to say this. It's his most almost Academy-like. It's his most in line with other directors kind of thing. He takes... It looks higher budget than the rest of his movies. Because the rest, he films in certain styles and manners, and this one actually felt like a Hollywood movie.
This is the movie, I think, after like Kill Bill, that one had a lot of budget for it, but when this was the first one I ever saw. I saw this in grade 9 for my film study school, and the reason I saw it is because I knew we owned it, and I knew that it was like, ooh, Tarantino's really violent. Yeah. So I made an excuse and said, my teacher wants me to see a Tarantino movie. Yeah. Now I get to see a Tarantino movie. You can't say anything about it. Yeah. When I first saw this movie, I hate myself when I was back in grade 9 because I said I liked it. I don't like the subtitles.
Oh, yeah.
I just kind of look down at the ground now. This is movie. The subtitles have a point.
Yeah, they do because that first scene when they're jumping around between 3 languages. Wow. And
when this movie, this has the second best movie opening in my opinion, in just terms of writing, everything, writing, cinematography, performances. This is, I think, Christoph Waltz, when he was in this movie, he didn't play it as a Nazi. Like everybody in interviews is saying, "You're playing this evil Nazi. You're playing this evil Nazi." He's like, "No, I'm not. I'm playing a detective. Who just happens to be a German soldier." Yes. And that's what makes it so good.
You can even tell that he doesn't like his nickname.
Actually, he says he likes it in the beginning. Yeah. It's kind of like a little bit like a Joker kind of thing, or like a Heath Ledger Joker, where he says, I love my unofficial title. And then later he's like, it's just the name that's stuck. Like
he's how that worked for me is, I think that when he's on the job, he says he likes it to be more intimidating, and so that he can get the information out of people faster.
Like a little pompous kind of strip on them. Yeah.
And you could tell that kind of helped break down the farmer there.
Yeah, and
just as soon as he's like, "Oh, I am dealing with a professional," then later on he's like, "I'm just doing my job."
This is another movie that I think we could definitely just sit here and analyze.
We could do this for an hour.
We can do this every single one of his films, with I think the exception of Death Proof. Just again because it's so short and there's once you kind of get past just like the camera is a little grainy. I don't mean to dismiss Death Proof, but once you get past some of that, it is a movie that you don't need so much time dedicated. This is a movie you could break down just every scene for like an hour. Mm-hmm. The opening alone with like we did that in class for 2 classes. We broke down that scene. And that was high school, so like 80-minute classes. Mm-hmm. So we broke down like what the lighting means on certain parts. Why does he drink milk? We talked about that for 15 minutes, 20 minutes about why he drinks milk. And I'm just kind of saying to myself, I just kind of wish movies would just have a person drink milk because they want milk. I wish, but again, that's what makes a movie so great.
I have to say, the acting's amazing. The scenes are amazing. Both storylines. I just wish that we saw more of the Bastards.
And you know what? I would agree with you if not for the fact that everyone in this movie is a bastard. That's why I think it's called that. It's not just... Because there were 2 movies. There was Inglorious Basterds, I think, in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And then there's this one that he made. And I think that one in the 70s was more with the Bastards. Like just the group that calls himself that.
Well, all I wanted to see was... I know we got to see them shoot up a few cars and everything and be scary. I just wanted to see them take down, like, a small Nazi camp. I wanted to see how the Bear Jew got his nickname, scaring people, right?
I do. Here's and I'll jump onto that, because there's a lot I do want to talk about with this, but there's definitely... I have a problem, not with the Bastards, but I have a problem with just the fact that some of them are given more dedication to time. Like... Hugo Stiglitz. We learn a little bit about him through a flashback, and I'm kind of like, okay.
It's a good flashback.
It was, but at the same time, where's the flashback for Aldo? Where's the flashback for the little man? there's so many guys, and then they just kind of disappear. I guess we could say they got either like taken out like for Purple Hearts or got killed. But
they're the guys who blew up, and they're the guy. There's little guy and Brad Pitt, and they're both taking the Nazis across the border. And I'm like, well, the other ones got shot at the bar, but there's still more.
And there's so much dedication in this movie to paying attention to every other character. Like we need to be on top of where Shoshana is. She's the one with the theater. Yeah. We have to know where her camera operator is as well. We have to know where Lambda is. We have to know where
Jew Hunter.
The Jew. That's Lambda. Yeah.
Lambda. Sorry, my bad.
Lambda. But we also have to know where. What's his name? The guy, the director of the film. We have to know where. Frederick Zoller is. Yeah, we have to know where all of these characters are, and we have to know everything about them. And then with the Bastards, it just doesn't. It's kind of like, they can go disappear. That's one thing where I'm just like,
I would have liked to see more of them because they're really enjoyable and fun whenever you see them. It's just.
But at the same time, you're right when you say this is a Hollywood film in terms of there's so much in the background for this. Like the set design is amazing. The costumes are fantastic. The biggest thing that I find more impressive in when I watch like special features is the posters. Yeah, those are authentic movie posters that they have set up. They get all the nitrate film on this. Yeah. My gosh, this movie was just so big and grand. And what's really great about this is Christoph Waltz deserved the Oscar for supporting actor. One of the best performances again by an actor. But Brad Pitt is so funny in this role.
Buongiorno.
Grazie. It's like all that. My name is Lieutenant Aldo Ray. It's like iconic and just so awesome in that whole like scene under the bridge where the bear Jew comes out. Yeah, like, it's a moment where it's like there's that glory trumpet. Yeah, oblige him. Yeah, it's like good. You get that for killing Jews, for bravery, and there's this like huge grandness, and he's like getting ready to swing, and once he hits him, that grand music goes out, and he's just butchering his German,
beating him up. Yeah,
and he's just like swearing up a storm, and it's like,
and Brad Pitt ends the movie perfectly. I think that may just be my masterpiece.
And I would agree. This is a movie that is so above and beyond itself. With just a few things, and it's just so great in terms of, again, with a scene that's I think even better than the opening, near close to the beginning, is that bar scene. Just the setup when there's he didn't say the rendezvous was going to be in a goddamn basement, and it's like, I didn't pick the rendezvous. She picked it herself. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of problems when you're going down to a basement. Number one is you're fighting in a basement. And I'm just like, it's like these little things are just things that you think it's just bickering and you don't really understand it. And then the setup when they go in,
and then you take it from a captain's perspective. You're like, I would not like putting my man in a basement.
and then when the whole scene is so full of tension because there's more Germans than they expect.
And then he does this.
And even if you just seen it for the first time, you're like, wait, what just happened? And all of a sudden, there's a gun. Then there's another gun. And then there's a guy putting a gun on a guy's testicles. And it's like, well, oh boy, if this is going to be the end, I hope you don't mind if I go out speaking to kings. And he's like, there's a special ring in hell for people who waste good scotch. I gotta say, damn good stuff, sir. Now, about this pickle that we find ourselves in, I guess there's only one thing to do. And what is that? Stiglitz. Say, Avita Zentia Nazi Balls. And it blows up in a perfect way of both satisfaction and horror. Yeah. And those things, I just can't summarize it in that. There's so much.
We'll have to dedicate much more time to this one.
Much more. There's just so much to talk about. And I will just say the best part about this movie, in my opinion, is how much that I can watch this film and still be afraid. Yeah. Like I'm horrified by what happens in this. And just again, with going right back to the subtitles, when the opening scene when they're talking in French. He says he exhausts it, but he's still using bigger words in French to explain that. Yeah. They talk in English, and then he reveals that he knew that they were there, and they just wanted to make sure that they didn't hear and understand. And then they bring that even back later. My only other issue with this is that there's little moments where they say like merci, and then it's like no translation. It's just merci, and then they say merci, and it's thank you. Or I would want to ask Tarantino if that was intentional, if it was maybe just a slip up. I wouldn't be upset if it was. I mean, it's Inglorious Basterds. I'm not gonna be upset about it.